Hi everybody. Come on into the classroom. We're going to get started in a moment. I'll just wait for some of you to enter the class. Get the camera a little situated here. Come on in. I'll have a little tea with you. Got my lipstick on, Mel. Hi, Jenny. Come on in. Come on into the classroom, everybody. I'll wait a couple more minutes so that we can let everybody come in, and then we can start working on pronouncing the Niyamas. And I made a perfect cup of green tea. Good morning, beautiful. That's loving. Good morning, beautiful Mel. Okay, it looks like many people have just joined in, and I want to welcome you all today. I am Manorama, and this is Sanskrit Studies and Luminous Soul Corner, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you this morning. I even put on a little dress for you that actually Uma picked out for me a while back when we were at Ann Taylor's. Don't even ask how we ended up at this mall, but it's a very funny story. Anyhow, little meditation and a little shopping. I always say, just because you're not the body and mind, no need to lose your sense of fashion. All right, so a little humor to start the day off. I want to welcome you all here today. My name is Manorama. This is Sanskrit Studies and Luminous Soul session. And today we are focusing on pronunciation of Patanjali's Niyamas. So we're focusing on pronunciation of Patanjali's Niyamas, which are located in the second chapter of the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. If you don't have that text, let me just actually pull that out right now and show you a fabulous version. If you don't have this, you definitely want to get this. Okay? So if you don't have it, take a quick snapshot, and you can get this either at sanskritstudies.org, or you can look and see if you can find it somewhere else. Okay? This is one of my 15 copies of this book. It is good morning, good morning, good morning, Donna, darling. So it is a translation by Sri Brahmananda Saraswati, who was a PhD in Sanskrit, an ophthalmologist and a psychiatrist, and he also was and is my Guruji. So I refer to him as my Guruji. Okay? All right, so let's get started with pronunciation today of Niyamas. So I'm going to hold up a sheet of paper, and I want you to either take a snapshot or take your pens out and write it down. So make sure you've got a little paper with you today. Grab a piece of paper, make sure you've got lines, and pay attention to the dots and the slashes that might be above the letters or the dots that are below, okay? Here we go. Good morning, doll. Okay, everybody, write down your Niyamas or take a snapshot. I see many people snapping. Okay, these are your Niyamas. So let's, couple more. I'll wait a couple more minutes because people are still snapping. Okay. Okay. All right. So you want to be writing them down or have taken a snapshot. Oh, let me do it again. It looks like somebody else was snapping. Go ahead. Go ahead, take that snapshot if you just joined in. We're taking a look at the Niyamas. And what we're doing is just paying attention to these different markings. I'm going to show you which markings I'm talking about. The line here, the slash here, the dot under this H, the dot under this N. I want you to make sure you have this written out correctly and that you can see those diacritical marks. Make sure to take a snapshot of this or write it down and make sure you can see those diacritical marks. All right, first of all, I want to talk about the word niyama. So many times people call it, or they call the limbs of yoga the yamas and the niyamas. So I'm teasing a little bit and I'm exaggerating, but it's not that far from what I hear oftentimes. That is a mispronunciation. It's not the niyama. It's every syllable here is light. Every syllable is light. It's niyama. Can you say that? Niyama. Good. So how do we work with these niyamas, right? How do we work with them? And I wanted to actually reference something for you. So let me just put this here. One moment. Bear with me, please. So in Sutra 229, Patanjali outlines his 8-limb path, right? It's called Ashta Anga. Ashta means 8, and Anga means limb. So the 8 limbs, or the 8 steps, or the 8 sort of highways or doorways that will help you experience the union. He starts the path off with yama. My teacher translates yama as willpower. The practices that help you develop a firm ground or to develop willpower. He also refers to it as intention. So, and we spoke about these in a previous session, and if you haven't seen that session, I highly recommend you hop on over to Periscope and or my YouTube channel, Manorama Sanskrit, and then just hop on over there, because there's a larger channel of people who are an organization in India called Manorama, and I'm not really sure what it is, but it's Manorama Online, and it's some other organization, but you have to look up Manorama, spelled Manorama, Sanskrit, okay? Or you can look up Sanskrit Devi. I believe that's how you'll get to that YouTube channel. And on there, I speak about how to pronounce the yamas. But for today, we're going to focus on the niyamas. And the word niyama is the means or the way, right? The means or the way. This is one of the ways my teacher translates the second limb of the Ashtanga path. So I'm not going to go too deeply into the philosophy today because we don't have time for that, but I want to talk about pronunciation, and we'll take other sessions on Periscope and in other Luminous Soul video sessions to describe and discuss more the philosophy of niyamas, okay? All right, but let's take a look at our list. Okay, I'll use this as my pointer. We've got here shaucha. Can you try saying that? Notice here, I'm just going to point it out and then I'll show it to you, but see here how you've got a slash over that S. That slash is signifying that it's a second mouth position, sha. Then you have the vowel ow. Ow is always accented. So you want to say, you want to accent, so you want to do second mouth position and accent that ow. So say shaucha. You say shaucha. Good. Shaucha. Say shaucha. Excellent. Okay, let's talk about the next one. Now let's take a look. You've got the sa. You've got a dental nasal because there's no dots above or below. If you haven't taken Sanskrit Module 1, definitely join me in that class, and that will help you understand some of what I'm saying here. But you've got the fourth mouth position, sa, fourth na, fourth tha, and then third sa, because you see that dot underneath it. So that is, you're going to accent that o, and you're going to accent the sa for a variety of reasons, which you'll take a look at in other classes, but it's santosha, santosha. Say that. Santosha, santosha. Good. Okay, we're going to come back and say meaning in a moment, but I want to just actually really hone in on these pronunciation points. The next is the T sound. There's no dot under it, so it is, oops, camera keeps sliding. There's no dot under it, so the T is at the fourth mouth position, and this is the sound tha, tha. And then you have ba, no breath, right, or minimal breath, some breath, every sound has some breath, but it's a minimal breath sound. And then you have visarga, where you push the breath out at the end or let it trail. So you want to say tapa, Tapah. Good. Say that again. Tapah. Tapah. Excellent. Now let's go through these three that we have so far. I'll put it up close so new people can take a snapshot. Shaucha, shaucha, santosha, santosha, tapah, tapah. Good. Okay, now we're going to do the next one. This one here is swa. It's fourth sa with a long ah, so you got to drop that jaw, say swa. Then you've got that breathy sound duh, and it's connected with a ya. So it's dhya, dhya, swa, dhya, ya. Swa, you could also say swa. You could make this a V sound or a W sound. So it's swadhyaya. Try saying that. Swadhyaya, swadhyaya, swadhyaya. Good. Let's do them all again that we have so far. Starting here. Niyama, niyama, shaucha, shaucha, santosha, santosha, tapah, tapah, swadhyaya, swadhyaya. Very good. And now the longest one, which is the final, is, you see here, this long E, and you've got this V or W, it depends. You've got this slash over the S, so that makes it a second mouth position, sha. So you've got Ishvara, Ishvara, or you could say Ishwara, Ishwara, but what you don't want to say is Ishwara. It's not Ishwara. Ishwara is a mispronunciation, everybody, so stay clear of that pronunciation. If you want to grow your Sanskrit capacity and your Sanskrit pronunciation, it's Ishwara. Try again. Ishwara. Good. Okay, then you have pra, and you have this dot here. See if you can perceive that. That little dot underneath the nasal makes it third mouth position, so you're going to bring the tongue back and curl it up into the third and say erna, erna. Now you're going to add an E after it. Say erni, erni. So it's pra-erni. Say pra-erni. And then you have aspirated fourth mouth position, dha, with a long ah. Dha, pra-erni dha. Try that. Pra-erni dha. And then na, dental na. Pra-erni dhana, pra-erni dhana. Okay? So this is Ishwara, Ishwara, Pranidhana, Pranidhana, Ishwara, Pranidhana. You have to think about it a little bit. Okay, so let's go through the whole list again, looking carefully. Shaucha, say, Shaucha, Santosha, Santosha, Tapah, Tapah, Swadhyaya, Swadhyaya, Ishvara, Pranidhana, Ishvara, Pranidhana. Very good. Okay, any questions up to here just in terms of pronunciation? Questions in terms of pronunciation? It's fun, Sanskrit. It's like a puzzle that you get to figure out, you get to play with, and you get to actually make the sounds that the rishis made thousands of years ago. And you get to have access to this incredible language. So when we pronounce it correctly, we're not trying to be sticklers and be like, you got to do it this way. We're trying to gain access to the experience that is meant, because what's a key feature about Sanskrita is that as you say the sound, you have the experience of the sound. As you say the sound, you have the experience, but you have to say the sound correctly. So it's not that we want to be correctinators or that we want to always be, we've got to be perfect. It's not that kind of idea. It's that to have access to that doorway that was left for us as a way to enter into the experience of yoga, to have access to that, we need to align our pronunciation, because when we align our mouth positions, we align the breath, then we have greater access to the experience that is meant. So let me stop there and not go too far into that. That'll get much more philosophical for everybody. But are there any questions up to here? No questions? Okay, I'm going to say a couple more things about the niyamas. So, shaucha, purity, right? Cleanliness. Santosha, contentment. And I always tell students contentment is a practice. It's not something that sort of just descends upon you one day where you're like, oh, you know what? I just feel amazingly content. I mean, we have moments like that in life. We certainly have moments like that in life. But if that's how we're arriving at santosha, that's a problem. If we're waiting for it to just happen for us, instead of understanding it as a practice, it's a practice, that feeling content, right? It's a practice bringing that sense of happiness to ourselves and understanding what that happiness is in yoga. Happiness is not happy, right? In yoga, happiness is santosha. It's a sense of ease and balance and not fluctuating too high and too low, or placing your happiness on things outside of yourself. And there's so much that I can say on this, and I will when we look at when we have a session on santosha and so on and so forth. Okay? Yeah, send some hearts for that. Okay, the next one is tapa. Say that with that breath push out at the end. Tapa. Good. This is austerity or discipline. We want to develop in discipline in yoga because the discipline gives us access to, it's like when we cultivate that discipline, it gives us access. I always say this about people who are like very high-end athletes. I've worked with several very high-end athletes, and one of the things that happens is they practice so intensively, right? So that they have command over their body. It's not that they have command over their body, they have a capacity to, their body is sort of at their will, whether they're a high-end dancer, whether they're an athlete. And that's why we practice so much, because then all these pieces, the physical, the mental, the emotional, and that kind of the mystical, they kind of sync up in a moment, and you have access to that experience. So the discipline is very important. And you know, if you experienced a harshness around discipline when you were younger, you're going to be all kind of like, I don't know about discipline. We'll have to talk about that later. But if you experience discipline as a positive channel, then you'll kind of feel very comfortable with it. And how many of you have felt discipline in a kind of a harsh way? Send me some hearts. I want to see how many people have experienced discipline in a harsh way. A parent who was very harsh about the discipline, or who was very strict, right? Because I think oftentimes people can misunderstand discipline as strict. Okay, I got a bunch of hearts there. All right, how many of you have experienced, this will help me for creating something for you later. How many of you have experienced discipline as an easeful doorway, as a doorway that is something that you learned as a child that was very easeful? How many of you have experienced discipline in that way? Send me some hearts. Okay, so we've got about an equal amount. So you see how it goes? We've got about an equal amount. About half the people, and this is my experience in classes overall, experience discipline as like amazing. And others know they should, but they've had some fracture around discipline because for them, discipline has meant strict. So we're going to talk about that in another session together. We'll speak about tapa more deeply. But for now, think about discipline, everybody, whether you experienced it as strict. Take that information in and say, wow, I just when Manorama asked, do you experience discipline as strict, or did you in your childhood? I clicked, yeah, I tapped on the hearts, or I felt that inside. So just note that. And if you were a person who didn't, and you said, you know, for me, it was an easy channel, then say that to yourself, say, wow, so that you have that awareness of which is playing out on your field. And then secondarily, notice that in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, within the second limb called Niyama, the third of the Niyamas, tapa, is this experience of discipline. He mentions it as a portal. So maybe for everybody, there's something a little more deep to go into to understand that. And we'll begin with the concept of pronouncing it correctly. And the word is tapa, tapa. Okay, then we have, let's take a look here, swadhyaya, swadhyaya. You got to drop that jaw. Swadhyaya. Say again, swadhyaya. Good. Self-study, the study of the self. What does that mean, swadhyaya? Well, it can mean a couple of things. The study of the self, and also it can also mean chanting. So chanting is an integral part of the yogic path. Certainly it's part of the world that or the aspect of yogic practice that I'm very immersed in. But chanting is a very large part, and it gives us access to vibration and rhythm. And again, in another session, we'll talk about how and in what way swadhyaya reflects that and what's meaningful for us. But for today, work on dropping your jaw, pushing that little breath spurt out on the dhya, and then dropping that jaw again. So say swadhyaya. Say again, swadhyaya. Good, excellent. Okay, finally, let's take a look at the final one. Ishvara pranidhana. Ishvara pranidhana. Now, if this is difficult for you, any of them, don't get down on yourself. Use that energy. You could use that energy to get down on yourself, or you can use that energy to refocus and practice another little piece. And that's why I went through them kind of syllable by syllable at times, or a little more slowly, because that's what you want to do. If, let's say, you're like having a little tricky time saying Ishvara, spend a little time and just walk down the street and be like, Ishvara. No, she said not Ishvara. It's Ishvara. Ishvara. Like, you got to hang out. You got to make these guys your friends. You got to spend some time with them. Okay? So try to let frustration dissipate, right? That it comes with some patience, with some gentleness. Okay? Ishvara. Ishvara. And then pranidhana. Pranidhana. And this will be your this will be a little tricky because of the nasal, but you've got it. You just got to curl that tongue into the third mouth position. You take the tongue and you pull it back and up into the third, like a dish, okay? And then you tap, na, na, and then you bring the vowel E, ni. So you say pranidhana, pranidhana. Good. So the whole is Ishvara pranidhana, Ishvara pranidhana. Okay? So this is surrender to God, fusion with God. And, you know, for some of us, God is a very divisive concept. I've gotten feedback from students at times like, I don't believe in God, or I'm nervous about God, or God is, you know, complex. So I say, if that's confusing for you, you can use nature, right? Fusion with nature. Or what I always say is connection with the luminous light that you are, right? So surrender to that highest self, or that luminous light that you are. All right, last time, let's go through them one more time, one by one. Shaucha, say shaucha. Santosha, santosha. Tapa, tapa. Swadhyaya, swadhyaya. Ishvara pranidhana, Ishvara pranidhana. Niyama. Great job, everybody. Yahoo! Okay, so you can bring this into your classes. Maybe take one, or maybe take two. You can work on pronouncing it, have the class pronounce it. It's a wonderful experience for people to actually just feel the pure sound on their palate and in their bodies. It makes a difference. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And that's how Sanskrit is, subtle and powerful. Okay, any questions? Thank you for the hearts. Are there a total of 8 niyamas to make up the 8 limbs? No, there are 5 niyamas. And you can check them out in the second pada, or second chapter of the Yoga Sutra. Thank you, Manorama. Love these lessons. I learned so much. You're most welcome. I don't know your name, case-sensitive design, but you're most welcome. And Melanie, there are 5, and you can check that out in the second pada of the Yoga Sutra. Any other questions? Have another sip of my tea. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you all. Okay, if there's no other questions, then we'll start to wrap. I'll let you know what's happening on the boards. Thank you all so much. Sanskrit Studies Method Level 1 year-long training started this past weekend. You can still get in if you're interested. You can get the recording of Module 1 and continue on from there. If you've already done Module 1, I love being with you too, doll. If you've already done Module 1 and you don't want to redo it, you could then join in Module 2. But if you want to get access to the Module 1 recording, then you can register today and join us in this class. We have a phenomenal group that has gathered together. It was so much fun this last weekend. And we go into so much about Sanskrit and the philosophy, and you learn about the Sanskrit Studies method for accessing Sanskrit, the Sanskrit language and the mantras. We're going to be working on pronouncing sutras correctly, asanas correctly, and select verses of the Bhagavad Gita and other verses as well in Sanskrit. So I highly recommend you join us. Again, if you didn't make it to last session, it's fine. You can still get access to the recording if you register, and or you can join us in the second module, which starts November 19th, okay? All right, everybody, so that's an announcement there. And then I will be in satsang at Jivamukti Yoga Center tomorrow. Today's Tuesday, yeah. Tomorrow I'll be there from 8:30 to 10. They so don't want to miss any of it. Oh, thank you, Donna. Yeah, she's in the class and she's loving it. And she says, you don't want to miss any of it. Yeah, it's really been fun. We had a great weekend. So definitely get yourself over to sanskritstudies.org if you're interested to even explore what's happening with the Sanskrit Studies Method Level 1 year-long teleclass training. Teleclasses are simple. You just get you register, you get a code, you sign in, and voila, you're in the class, okay? So it's really fun, and if you miss a class, then you get a week to access the recording. Okay, other questions? Oh, I'm at Jivamukti tomorrow night for satsang, a live satsang from 8:30 to 10 p.m., Jivamukti in New York City. We'll be practicing meditation and chanting. And that's it for now in terms of announcements. There'll be more coming down the pike, and you can check the website for more information, sanskritstudies.org. Don't forget to join me at some of the social media channels, Manorama Facebook page, Sanskrit Studies on Twitter, Instagram is Manorama9, and the YouTube channel Manorama Sanskrit. So definitely check us out over there as well. I send you all my love. Be blessed, everybody. It's so wonderful to be here with all of you on this beautiful Tuesday. Remember, you are beautiful, you are powerful, and you are free. You are all a luminous soul. Practice, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you in class again soon. Mwah. Be blessed, everybody. Love you. Bye. Love you all. Thank you all so much for coming, and practice your niyamas. Bye, everybody.